Hi everyone, my name is Nicole, and today for my informative speech, I'm going to be talking about how to take care of your houseplants. So first, let me get into a little bit about houseplant history. So gardening and owning plants is obviously not a new hobby, but within the last few years, the amount of plant owners has increased significantly. A study that I read about had said that 30% of plant owners are within the 18 to 34-year-old age group. Back in 2019, a survey had revealed that 30% of all households were buying at least one houseplant. Gardening analysts have compared this trend to the 70s and the 80s, where houses were filled with non-flowering pots and macrame hangers. So the big question here is why? Why houseplants? Why have millennials started buying houseplants? Plants are a natural draw to millennials for many reasons. Plants make for a healthier and happier space. A lot of greenery in the area can help reduce stress levels, something that many of us, especially us young adults, are struggling with. And it also can help give a sense of responsibility, making sure that the plants are taken care of, making sure they're watered, making sure they're in the correct spot, maybe potting them in like a cute and fun way. Becoming a plant owner is a great way to get involved in the community and also make friends. There's so many unique plant shops everywhere, especially here in Buffalo. Some fun ones that I've been to and really like are called Life is Succulent, which is located in Amherst, and Put a Plant on It, which is located downtown in Buffalo on Elmwood. There are a bunch of Facebook groups as well, such as Western New York Houseplants, that help bring people together to learn about plants, and it's a great forum to ask questions and make new friends. I know I've had a couple questions about my plants, and I've asked them in the group, and I always get tons of responses from people trying to help me better take care of my plants. Now let's talk about some tips for beginner houseplant owners. One thing that you want to keep in mind is you want to keep the temperature of the room that the plant is in very stable. You don't want it fluctuating from high to low temperatures throughout the day. You want to remove dead leaves when they appear. I know sometimes you might see those brown or yellow leaves and you might think, oh, if I just keep watering it, I'll bring it back to health. But what's happening is all of the energy that's in the plant is going towards trying to save those dead leaves. But they're not going to be saved. So it's better if you just cut them off. That way all of the nutrients and energy can go towards growing the rest of the plant. You don't want to overwater or underwater your plant. I know that can be confusing because you want to find the right amount of water for your plant. So just listen to your plant, do research about your plant, and make sure that you're watering it the correct amount. Also, you don't want to buy very complicated plants right off the bat. You want to buy simple ones that don't really need bright light or lots of watering. Starting with low maintenance plants will help build your confidence and your skill as a plant owner. Here are some examples of beginner plants. So a snake plant is a really good beginner plant. They are near impossible to kill. They only require low light, and you only water when the soil is dry to touch. I have a snake plant of my own, and I probably only water it about once a month. A monstera plant is another good beginner plant. Again, it just needs low light, and you just water when the soil is dry to touch. And the ZZ plant is also a really good beginner plant. Once again, needs low light, and you only water when about the top 2 inches of the soil seem dry. Here are some more difficult or high maintenance plants. Some of these you might want to avoid getting for a little while until you've really built up that skill, because obviously you don't want to buy a plant, especially if they're more pricey, and then they end up not surviving and then you have wasted all that money. So the croton, not sure how to pronounce that exactly, although it's very pretty with its colorful leaves. It needs extremely bright light, it needs lots of moisture and lots of humidity. So unless you have a facility within your house to grow something like that, you're going to want to avoid that because, like I said, you don't want to end up killing it. And same with the bird's nest fern. It needs a lot of moisture and humidity. So even though it looks really cool with its crinkly, crimped looking leaves on the edges, you're going to want to stay away from these types of plants. Something to keep in mind is that there are some plants that are poisonous for cats and dogs. So if you do have a pet, you want to make sure that you do some research about your plants before buying them, because you don't want your animals to get into them if they're really bad for them. So some examples of some pet-friendly plants that are also very low maintenance are spider plants, acreopalms, and polka dot plants. They're very pretty and they don't require a lot of maintenance, and they are safe if your cats and dogs do end up getting into them. Okay, so to conclude my informative speech about houseplants, I wanted to include a little page of all of my personal houseplants that I have. You can see You can actually recognize some from earlier in the PowerPoint. I have that snake plant right in the middle. Very low maintenance, very easy to take care of. I bought it when it was so small, and now it is so nice and big. But yeah, thank you all for listening, and I hope that you will learn something about taking care of your houseplants, or if you don't own houseplants, maybe this inspired you to buy some.